Live from the campus of Southern University, it's the Bottom Line TV show, bringing real truth to today's problems. And now, your host for the Bottom Line TV show, Mr. Bruce Walker.
Welcome to the Bottom Line, and I'm your host, Bruce Walker, first giving my obedience to Christ, who's truly the head of all of our lives. This week, we're going to talk about financial literacy, because those who know the least pay the most. Join us. Welcome, LaShawn. Thank you. And today, we're going to talk about financial literacy because of our ignorance in finance, in the financial system. I think a lot of us are set back and even hold our own self back because we don't do the things necessary to make sure our credit score is what it should be. And today, with your credit score being tied to everything from your job application to your actual application for a home, you probably won't be a little more mindful about that score and know the things necessary on how to keep that score at a certain level. So that's why we brought Miss LaShawn. She's with United Credit Education Services, and she's pretty much our little local expert in this financial literacy thing. So LaShawn is going to bless us today about giving us some financial literacy education. And one of the things I asked her to focus on with us sending our kids off to college and how they are preyed upon on those campuses with those credit cards. That's one of the things that I asked her to focus on, along with a whole bunch of other things that will not only benefit the kids that's gone away, but the parents while we stay at home. So y'all join in. Ms. LaShawn, again, thank you for coming out. Me and my audience can't thank you enough for sharing your expertise with us. And while we're talking about your expertise, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you get here in Baton Rouge and how do you become so passionate about financial literacy?
Okay. Well, I am originally from Louisiana, born in Donaldsonville.
Amen.
Raised in Scotlandville.
What?
And Zachary, Port Hudson area, product of Zachary High Schools. Graduated from Southern University Law Center with a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, MBA from Southeastern Louisiana in Hammond with a focus in finance, and a JD from Southern University Law Center.
Amen.
So been in financial services for the last 12 years. Been in the background of the legal industry around bankruptcy for the last 12 years as well. Been very fortunate to get a lot of information financially and legally that I try to use to help our community.
Amen. Amen. I know God sent you the right people. And you know, this financial literacy has beat us up as a minority for throughout history, really. And I think now it's time that we become way more conscious about what we need to do for ourselves, to put ourselves as well as prepare a better place for our kids in the future. So that's why we brought you here today. So our audience is locked in, and I'm locked in because I'm quite sure I got a lot to learn about this subject. So treat us as if we're kids and we don't know a whole lot about financial literacy, because to be candid, a lot of us don't. I think, you know, like 1 in 3 need some type of credit help.
Exactly.
So talk to us from that perspective. Don't make us feel like we know it all already. Treat me like a baby and you telling me for the first time about credit.
Okay. Well, the Fair Isaac and Company, this is a scoring system that's used to actually determine your credit score. So when someone pulls a credit score on you, that's what they're looking at. And so there's 5 components, but I think what we really need to focus on for today is actually 3.
Okay.
I call it the 35-30-15. Okay, 35% of your score is actually based on how you pay your bills. So if you're not paying your bills on time, according to the contract, meaning this is your due date and you have it in by that date, you're actually hurting your score.
Good.
Another 30% is actually based on how much you owe. So for that person that thinks, oh, I pay off my credit card every month, that's not all we're talking about. We're talking about something that shows that you can use credit effectively, which means keeping a low balance and also paying on time. So you're not maxed out, and you're only using 30% of what that credit limit is and making sure that it's at 30% or less by the reporting date, okay? So you have a reporting date. Reporting date is the date that how much you owe is reported to the credit bureaus.
Okay.
That's different than your due date. Your due date is when you're supposed to pay your payment by. Reporting date is when they're actually reporting this is your balance. So by that date, you need to be under 30% on that card. And that can actually serve you better than having no balance at all.
So if we have credit cards, the first thing we want to understand about a credit card is that we need to make sure we are 35 or 30%?
30% or less of the credit limit.
30.
So if my credit limit is $300, I need to be at 30% of that credit limit or less.
Okay.
So that's about $90.
$90. So out of a $300 credit card, to
No
be
more
in a
than
good
90.
place, I should only spend $90 on that
By
card.
the reporting date, that's what you need to be down to.
$90.
Correct.
If not, it's working against
It's
me.
working against you.
Okay,
And
see,
that can be a difference in about 80 points on your credit score.
good grief.
So 80 points. That's a big jump.
Yeah.
So someone could be really good one month and not pay off their balances or not pay to under 30% and actually be in a bad place the next month.
So these are all things that you probably need to take into consideration before you go apply for a new loan or something like that, or
Definitely.
run to the car lot and try to get that new car. You probably need to look at where you are before you go out.
Most definitely.
Most of us don't do that. I get enough money saved to go out and get my new car. I'm going
Exactly.
down to the lot.
Exactly. Most people don't. Now, the last piece that I think we really need to focus on is the 15%, and that's going to lead us into why we're talking about this today. 15% has something to do with how long you've had credit.
Okay.
So that brings us to our college students. They'll be starting, some of them actually started this past week locally here. And so they are prime candidates for our credit card companies. And so the credit card companies, they will be basically lying in wait, okay? And they have lots of lures, free t-shirts, free water bottles, free candy bars, all kinds of stuff free. So what student doesn't want something free? So they'll have this table and they'll basically say, so how can I get that t-shirt? Oh, just fill this information out. And so before you know it, within a month's time, your college student has a credit card. Now, this is what we know. Around the time when people graduate from college, about 96% of them have credit cards. 96% of them have credit cards. It's on the campus. That we already talked about how it's easy to get. We have about 40% of those people that have a balance over $3,000. So they're graduating with debt. That doesn't include student loans. And in addition to that, you have quite a number of them who have over 6 cards. The average is about 6. It's not quite at 7, but the average is about 6.
So the average college student prior to graduating have $3,000 in credit card debt and probably about 5 or 6 credit cards themselves.
Correct. And you wonder, how does that happen? So this is why the credit card companies want your student. The research that they've done says that students who go to college are more likely to make more money when they graduate.
Makes sense.
And so they believe that if they are the first to give the credit card, if they're the first person to extend credit to your student, then they'll be loyal. So they're looking at a lifetime customer. So the first card you get is a Capital One card. Capital One probably has you for life. That's the way they're looking at it.
Nah, I hear Capital One is not that friendly.
Well, no credit card company, no creditor is friendly if you don't pay them.
Amen. Amen.
So a lot of companies get a bad name, but honestly, nobody is friendly if you don't pay them. So we know why they are, hungry for these students. Okay, it's easy pickings. It's easy pickings, and they know that this is going to be a lifetime customer. And college students, now notice, they're not setting up a credit card table just on the street anywhere. College students are there for a degree, and they're assuming that the reason why they're getting a degree is because they want a job, and so lifelong
So
customer.
that seemed a little shady because
Yeah.
I kind of question the military a little bit. When they come get us at 17, 18 and encourage us to join the military, that's kind of like that. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that when we come back. We have to take a break to pay some of these bills. Don't y'all go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Let First Choice entertain you. Get a 42-inch flat screen HD TV, audio bar, and Blu-ray player with Wi-Fi for just $19.99 a week. Plus, get a $6 Redbox gift card as long as you rent. Come to any First Choice location for details or go to firstchoicerto.com.
See the entire Tag Heuer collection today at Elgin's Fine Jewelry.
Welcome back to the Bottom Line, and if y'all just joining us today, we're here with Miss LaShawn Blanchard, and we're talking about financial literacy, and what she's teaching us is those who know the less pay the most. So we trying to correct that, and we trying to teach y'all some stuff about financial literacy. That way we can start paying what everybody else is paying. We're specifically focusing on back to school and some of the things that our kids are going to experience on those college campuses across this great world. And while we was at break, we had somebody tell us a very interesting story about when they first got to college. And I see how it happened because it would excite me too. But if you're a college kid on campus and you have $0 and you go to the credit card table and they could tell you could have 500 by the end of the day, it's going to be hard to tell them no.
Exactly.
What you going to do about that, Miss Shawn?
Exactly. Well, as parents, we have to educate. We have to educate them. If you are a parent that has gone through an experience with credit, you need to be sharing that with your kids. This is not the time not to be transparent.
Amen.
If you got a credit card when you were in college or otherwise, and you messed that up, you need to tell your college students, this is how it happened to me. If anything, we already know our kids. I mean, it's almost like they strive not to be like us, right? But you need to be sharing those examples. Of course, a student who has no money, meaning, they might have a meal plan, tuition is paid. What else could they possibly need? You need to be sharing with them what is a need, okay?
Exactly.
Even if they are in a position where they get the credit card, you need to be sharing with them, this is what's considered an emergency. Only use if you, okay, I understand you have the card, but you only use it for emergencies. If you can eat it, if you can wear it, okay, it's not an emergency.
Amen.
Okay?
Amen. Amen.
New shoes, new purse, new outfit, burgers and fries, that is not an emergency. We do not want our college students paying interest on burgers and fries.
Amen. And I guess that's the thing they miss as students, that you about to pay interest on a $2 burger for the next 10 years.
Exactly.
That's ludicrous.
Exactly.
Now, and I guess it all starts at home. So we got to talk to the parents out there, LaShawn. We got to educate the parents, the ones who's ultimately responsible And I guess that's not quite true because most of us go off to college at the age of 18. And if I really wanted to take that credit card, it's not a whole lot my mother or father could do about it.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Exactly. Most of them can get a post office box on campus and you'll never know about it until they come home.
Golly.
And you may not even know about it then. So again, it goes back to financial literacy. We have to let them know. There's a few things that your students need to know. First of all, the minimum payment trap. So my child now has a credit card. What do I do? You need to explain to them that the minimum payment is a trap. They need to understand what a finance charge is, okay? Best way to me to make things simple is to make sure that they understand, just like you pay tax on an item you might buy out of the store, a finance charge is like a tax on what you spend on that credit card. And so to avoid having to pay that tax, the only way to not pay that tax is to pay off your balance in full. Well, Mom, it was a $300 card and I maxed it out. Now what do? You need to explain to them what the consequences are. What is the game plan? If you do get a credit card, are you gonna basically tell them, okay, you're gonna have to pay it? Are you gonna tell them, okay, I'll bail you out, but you no longer have use of this card? There needs to be a conversation around that. No longer can we send our students out there and not prepare them. It's inevitable that something awful will happen.
Amen.
There are ways to prepare them. I'm not saying don't allow them to get credit experience. There's just a way to do it. We have to educate them. There are ways to prepare them for using a credit card. One is to actually use something called a prepaid debit. They're not quite ready to, start with the credit. They're not responsible enough. You can actually do a prepaid debit. So if you want to see how's my student going to react with $300, load one with $300 and see how fast they go through it. You can actually see their expenses, what they're spending their money on, and let that happen for a month. Now, God forbid, the 300 with your student only lasts a week, but you will at least see what they're doing so that y'all can have a conversation about, okay, this wasn't an emergency.
Okay.
This wasn't an emergency. So that's one way to prepare them.
So you're saying instead of just letting them go off and get to college and apply for a credit card, have a conversation before they leave and give them a prepaid debit card.
So you'll see what they'll do.
Before they leave.
Correct.
I like
That's
that.
one way to do that.
I like that.
The other thing is, if we're not having a conversation about what bad can happen, okay, what awful things can happen, then they don't believe that there are consequences. You have to teach them that this credit card, whatever this $300, this $500 is not money. It's not money, okay? Yes, it will buy things, but it's not money. Because if it was just money, then it wouldn't have an impact on you that would keep you from buying a car or a house when you graduate.
Amen. Amen.
So you have to explain to them that it's not money, that there actually is a bill to be paid, that there's a contract that says you have to pay things by a certain date, and you need to have that discussion with them that this is your credit limit. By this particular date, you cannot be over this particular amount of money on this particular credit card.
Now, I might need you to go back over that a little bit because I don't think enough of us as adults understand that and respect that and really know how detrimental that is to our present condition right now. So those three main factors that really, I know you say it's more than three, it's like five, but it's three that you like us to focus on. All right, don't y'all move. We're going to take a break. But while we're on break, y'all get y'all pen, y'all paper, and y'all be ready to write some of this down because this is some pertinent information that we all need to know. Don't y'all move.
Hello, I'm Reverend A.J. Johnson with Baton Rouge AIDS Society. For the past 2 years, Baton Rouge has been #1 in the country with the highest rate of AIDS cases. And 2 years before that, we were #2 in the country. My thing is, let's be part of the solution and not the problem. Get tested, get your results, and get on with your life. If you think you don't have time to get tested, call 923-AIDS at Baton Rouge AIDS Society and become part of our Anytime Testing Program. We test 24/7, 365. No needles, no blood, and get your results in 20 minutes. Get tested and know your results.
For 20 years, First Choice has made your life better with our great selection of brand name furniture, electronics, and appliances at flexible payment plans to meet any budget. And at First Choice, there are no credit checks, no one's refused. Come into any First Choice location or shop online at firstchoicerto.com.
Welcome back to the bottom line, and I'm here today with Miss LaShawn Blanchard, and she's taking us to school about financial literacy. And I think one of the things that I could honestly conclude at the end of this conversation is probably the difference between being poor and wealthy is financial literacy. Mm-hmm. So this is a very important topic, and I can't thank you enough. And in the last segment, you was talking about the items of the actual credit report, and it was 3 particular areas that you went over that we really need to be mindful of. And the reason I want you to go back over it is because people don't really realize how damaging paying a $20 bill late is.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
That right there, costs you 40, 50, 60 points on your credit score. And that right there, I think, is a whole lot just to get to the mailbox on time and send them the $20.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you have 5 areas that you're being graded on with your credit score, just like taking the test. You're being graded on these things. And what they're trying to decide is how you use credit. Do you use credit wisely? And based on how you fare in each of these areas, that's how they determine your credit score, and that's how they determine what your interest rates are going to be or whether they will even extend credit to you. So I call it the now of the 5, 3 are what I'd like to focus on. 35, 30, 15. 35% of your credit score is based on how you pay your bills. So just paying bills on time, major issue there. The 30% of your score is actually made up of how much you actually owe. So if you have a credit card with a credit limit, they're not just looking at the fact that you pay off your bill every month. They're looking at it would help you better if you show that you use the card, but you use it wisely. So that means you don't want to be over 30% of your credit limit on that card when the reporting date comes around.
Okay, so if I got a $1,000 credit card, I don't need to be spending no more than $300.
$300 is your limit on the reporting date.
On the reporting date.
You need to make sure that you have paid down that bill to that point by the reporting date.
All right,
okay?
all right.
Now the last part is your length of credit history. Okay, another reason why we do not want our students to go into this arena in college, getting credit cards and not understanding how it works. If they max out a credit card and do not pay it, the credit grantor will close that account. So now you have affected your score because you no longer have a credit line that's open. So length of credit history has gone out of the window. So they don't have necessarily a timetable that says, okay, you have been responsible with credit, or this is what you've done with credit for the last year, because now you've maxed out the card, you haven't paid, and they've closed the account.
Good grief. So
Exactly.
It's all detrimental.
It's all detrimental.
Now, that's some stuff I didn't know, and that's why I asked you to repeat it, and I hope y'all out there wrote some of that down. And, it's impossible for us to sit here and become financially literate in 30 minutes.
Right.
But I know the company that you work for offers all sorts of outreach programs that allow you and your coworkers to go into the community and instruct on financial literacy. Tell us a little bit about that, and how, if the churches out there, or if there's some groups of organizational leaders out there that would like you to come in, because I think you have even a program from like 8 to 18-year-olds.
Actually, we do.
Tell us a little bit about those services.
We have a program through Youth Financial Leadership where we will actually go into a school, a youth group, and teach ages 8 to 18 about financial literacy. Now, what's really effective about this program is, one, it teaches them on their level. So your kids are learning what you probably should have learned at 16 or 17.
Amen.
The great thing about that is the students work with their parents at home through this workbook. When they're all done and they complete it, they get a completion certificate. Usually kids get something like a pizza party, and we normally give a $500 scholarship to that school organization that has allowed us to come in. So, can you say free? Okay.
Like
so we're
it
talking about
motivate
free.
me.
Okay, so this is free information. This is free information. So if this is something that you want for your school, if this is something that you want for your youth organization, you need to reach out to me. In addition to that, adults need help too.
Amen.
And again, can you say free? Okay. So I've talked to many pastors that are very forward thinking, and they understand that there's more to what's going on with their congregation besides tithes and offerings. They really do need some principles to go along with that. They need to add to their faith knowledge. And so we do United Credit workshops. We will do a United Credit workshop for your ministry. It does not cost you anything. So if you give us the venue, we will give you the time and the expertise so that the people that you minister to can actually have a chance in this to be financially literate.
Miss LaShawn, we got way more than I anticipated today, sister. I must say I am truly blessed. I'm quite sure our audience have been blessed out there. Now I need you to do one more thing before you leave, because I know they're going to want to reach out to you. I need you to take your nice, slow time and tell them how to get in touch with you. Give them an email address, give them a phone number, because I do believe a lot of people out in our audience are going to reach out and want some more of this information. So look right there into that camera and tell them how to get in touch with Miss LaShawn.
Okay. Again, I'm LaShawn Blanchard with United Credit Education Services, a financial services company whose core product is credit restoration and financial literacy. You can reach me by dialing 225-650-3371. My email address is lcblanchard.jd@gmail.com. You can also Google me. You can find me on Google. If you Google my name, LaShawn Blanchard, you will come to my LinkedIn page. You can reach me there. And I'm on Instagram at Credit Maven. You can find me on Facebook. I can be found. So if you need some help, please reach out to me. Let's get the help you need today.
Amen. Now, it's another week. We done brought y'all some wonderful education and a wonderful resource right here in our community. I just beg of y'all, take advantage of it, because like we said earlier, probably one of the biggest separations between the rich and the poor is financial literacy. Catch up, y'all. See y'all next week. God bless.
Video by TMB Productions, shot on the campus of Southern University. Set provided by First Choice Furniture. Contact The Bottom Line at contact@thebottomlinetvshow.com. This has been an AG production.